27 years ago, I had a problem. And I didn't recognise the problem at the time as being one of negotiation, but it became obvious that that's really what it was about. I was a banker, and I was leading a deal team to put together a facility for one of the state governments in Australia. And it was a very large facility, and it was pretty high profile, and everyone was watching. Now, my problem was I couldn't get the deal over the line. We'd been awarded the deal in a tender. We were the preferred bidder, and we were negotiating the contract with the state treasury of this particular state government. And we were just having interminable meetings, and it didn't seem to be going anywhere. So I got worried. And I was talking to somebody I knew, and they said, look, it sounds like you need some help. You should do some negotiation training. So I found a negotiation training provider called Scotwork. Hadn't heard of them before. And I went through a 3-day training program to learn how to negotiate. And the big aha moment for me was it's actually pretty straightforward, but there are some things that I hadn't been doing that I should have been doing to move the process forward. So I went back to meet my counterpart the following day after I'd come off the course, and I asked some pretty simple questions to understand what the constraints were, and they were fairly easy to deal with. So we dealt with them to mutual benefit. And 2 weeks later, we had the minister's signature on the document. So what did I learn from that? Well, I learned that in fact, negotiating is a skill and a process, and I didn't know what I was doing. I also learned that if you train people in negotiation, you get better results. And so I became a client of Scotwork for 10 years and bought lots of Scotwork training in my roles as a more and more senior banker. And the reason I did that was I could see the benefit. It made my life easier as a senior executive to achieve my results by having lots of people in my world who knew how to negotiate. So roll on 27 years later, and for the last 17 years, this is what I've been doing for a living because it works.